Hi, I'm David, this is Joe, and today we're going to review Sad Horse 5. Yeah.
Is that supposed to be BoJack?
It is.
Okay. BoJack Horseman, Season 5. I haven't watched it, but I've watched the other 4 seasons, and I really liked those. Unfortunately, I've just been really busy the past couple of days when it came out, so I didn't get a chance to watch it yet, any of it.
He's been in Disneyland, and he's full of excuses.
Yes,
But,
exactly those two things.
Anyways.
But you've watched this, right?
So, BoJack Horseman Season 5. Even sadder, even darker, even just as funny.
Yeah. It's weird to put those two things before funny. But...
Sadder, darker, funnier-ish. Yes. Yeah, so I mean this...
So does this live up to the other seasons?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, at some point, I think we probably have to rank. After you see this, we can rank the seasons. But this is a very strong season because I mean it goes to a really dark place at the end. It's funny as always. And I think this year they brought in Ali Wong and I think maybe a couple other comedians, and so it was definitely funny.
But the frog back?
I didn't see the frog with the stuff stuck to his hand. That would have been great. I didn't see that, but I mean, there's so many things in every scene. You know, there's always things in the background, so he probably was there somewhere.
Yeah.
But this season, BoJack is filming his show Philbert, which is like, it's almost like a Netflix original.
Isn't that Caroline's thing that she wanted to?
At the end of season 4, Caroline signed him up for it, and he was all for it. And he jumps into it, and starts out going okay. And then, you know, of course...
Oh, yeah, because she doesn't want him for that, I think, right? And then
no, she didn't want him for that.
The producer wanted it, I thought.
She didn't care. I think the producer just wanted it, and then she was like, yeah, okay. And then Todd finds himself in charge of what is basically... I want to say it's Netflix only because during the Halloween party, there's one of the party goers, they have a shirt that says, "What time is it anyway?" and chill. So it kind of like, and it's basically he's in charge of this company that keeps track of time. So you use their app to find out what time it is. It's the stupidest fucking thing.
Of course, Todd is.
Yeah, and he doesn't even want to be it. Like he just falls into the position, and then he has some competition. Somebody else.
Mr. Peanut Butter?
No, surprisingly, I don't want to spoil anything yet.
Okay.
But then he has somebody else who falls into a higher position than him, and that's great. It's fucking hilarious. But BoJack's arc, man, it gets really dark. It starts out like happy and funny. He's trying to be a feminist, and he says something like, "The problem with feminism is they didn't have men to explain it for them," or something like that. Like he doesn't get it, but he's trying, and it's funny.
Classic
and then
BoJack stuff.
And then it just goes from there to, I want to say, a little after midway point, they have a eulogy episode where he spends the entire episode giving a eulogy, and he's talking to the camera. It's really funny, and then by the end of it, it's really intense and sad. And then I think from that point, like, it just gets weird. And then after that, they followed up with the psychiatrist episode where you have two.
He's finally getting a psychiatrist, BoJack?
Sort of.
Okay.
Without, we'll have a little spoiler section, and then you can cover your ears.
Yeah, I was like, I don't want any spoilers for this season. I love this show.
But they have a psychiatrist episode where it's 2 psychiatrists retelling the stories of their clients, who are all, of course, characters on the show. And that episode was really cool too. The only thing I didn't like is they had those episodes back to back. So things got really weird really quick, and they're both really cool ideas for episodes, but if they would have just spaced them out, I think it would have been a little better.
Right.
Because if you go too far, too weird, it stops feeling like BoJack and the thing that you really like, and you just gotta go back home every once in a while and reestablish that.
Kind of like the fish episode of, I think, season 4.
Yeah.
With the whole fishbowl thing.
Yeah. Every season he does some really crazy shit, usually, and you're like, oh man, he's not that fucked up. He's not gonna... Yeah, he is, every time. This time, it's not even a question of, oh man, is he that fucked up? Because they kind of show what happens, and then you question, wait, did I really see,
did he do what I just thought he did?
Is that what he's doing for real? Or is is that what he's really doing? Or is that the drugs he's on? Because the way it happens is crazy. But overall, man, this season went to some dark places, and it was funny and sad, and I think that's what we come to BoJack for.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, the story
and the writing.
Great. Yeah, that's
the writing, story, characters.
The storytelling is amazing.
BoJack has got to be one of the most complex and interesting TV or movie characters like ever. He's like up there with the greats.
Yeah, no, this is. I mean,
like I'd put like there's like Walter White. There's like. I mean, I guess Jon Snow's not complex, but I guess like there's like Walter White, and then there's like BoJack Horseman, and then you've got like I guess Jack Sparrow.
It reminds me of that classic image of a sad clown. You know,
right.
It's just oh man, you feel for him, you empathize with him, no matter how many shitty things he does, because he does some fucked up things, and you're always kind of like, man, you feel for him. Like he's trying to just make it through, and he's just it just doesn't work out every time, and then
I really want to see if the show is going to have a conclusion, like a real conclusion, or if they're just going to keep going for like a really long time.
Yeah.
Or are they going to end it like after the next couple seasons?
That's a good question. I wonder if they could just keep going. I mean, usually I think the best series have an ending in mind, and they wrap it up. Hopefully they do eventually, but I mean, I don't want to see them end anytime soon. It's
because I always
one of my favorite shows for sure.
It's always one of those things to come like when it comes out, you binge watch it, and then you're like, wow, that was great. Now what am I going to do with my life because we don't have BoJack for a while? And then you kind of forget about it for a little bit. It's always like in the back of your mind, but there's other shows and stuff going on. And then back when the trailer hits again, you're like, BoJack's coming back.
Yeah. BoJack's back, baby.
Exactly. Like
it totally popped up this time. I didn't see any advertisements for it. I just was on Netflix one night and it was like, oh, new episodes. And I was like, what?
I got a text from my friend Alfonso. He just texted me and he said, BoJack season 5, baby. So I looked it up.
BoJack's back. But man, I mean, this is a great show. If you haven't got into it, binge watch all of it now. Like,
go watch all of it.
It's one of the best things out there. One of the best things on Netflix. One of the best shows, period. If you're into funny, and if you're into comedy, great stories, great jokes. I mean, it'll stop and make you kind of think. It'll make you feel, and you'll laugh most of the time along the way. I mean, overall, you'll just be entertained. Yeah, so if I had to rate BoJack Horseman, this is not going to be surprising. I would give it a 6 out of 6. It's legendary, it's groundbreaking. I mean, it's original and creative, and that for me, if it's a sound story and it's original, I mean that's going to be everything I want. And it's one of my personal favorites out of any TV show.
As a show, I'd give it a 6 out of 6 always, but like I think we should go through at some point, rate all the seasons on their own.
Because this is better for sure, I think, than some of the other seasons. And there's definitely some that are stronger and weaker, but as a show.
They've had like one season that I think was weaker than the rest, and I think it might be season 2.
Season 2, or maybe even season 4. Okay, so that was my review for BoJack Horseman season 5. Now, I'm gonna jump into spoilers, so he's gonna either leave or cover his ears.
I'm gonna go watch BoJack Horseman.
So I'll talk a little bit about spoilers here. And if you haven't seen it yet, don't watch this part. Okay, so Joe had to run away and start watching season 5, as he should have a long time ago. Now, I'm talking about spoilers. Man, this season, the ending, I mean, that's probably one of the darkest moments in BoJack. Man, at the end, I don't even want to talk about that at first. Let's back it up to the eulogy episode. So during the eulogy episode, BoJack's giving the eulogy at his mother's funeral, and it starts off so funny and lighthearted, and then it gets real, and man, that gets really emotional, and that definitely hit me, and oh man, that's powerful. And then you jump from that to the next one. Again, I talked about the psychiatrist episode, which was a really cool idea, the way they switched up everybody's names and faces, made them look funny and whatnot. Like, that was pretty cool. And then, the whole, I want to say, last 4 episodes of the season just gets really weird, and the mood and vibe changes. And I mean, you could see why they do it. And he really starts getting heavily involved in drugs and starts abusing his pain medicine and starts tripping. And you kind of like, I thought the big thing was going to be his drug addiction, and then you see the big thing is actually his relationship with women, when he chokes out his co-star on set in front of everybody. And at first you're like, oh, is he really doing it? You know he's doing it. Yep, for sure. He's doing it, leaves marks, and it's this terrible scene. And then he blacks out and doesn't even know what he's doing. And then, that whole sequence when he's hallucinating, kind of, and it goes through that, and you're like, man, what's really going on? And they did a good job of kind of foreshadowing it in a way. They bring up the feminism topic earlier in the season and kind of play around with it in a lighthearted way. And then as you progress and go through the season, it gets serious. It's like real violence and real problem. And then what makes it worse is he has to go into the interviews and talk like, hey, that was just us acting, we're just great actors. And his co-star goes along with it because she doesn't want to be known as the girl who got choked out by BoJack Horseman on set. And so you see where she's coming from, but at the same time it's just such a horrible situation. And she has to sit next to him, and they sit next to each other and do the interview, and it goes great, but like, man, you really feel like just, damn, that's just a bad situation. And then going through his whole drug issues, and he has his little sister that she tries to come help him out. And of course that doesn't work out, because nothing in BoJack's life really works out. And man, it goes to some dark places this year. I mean, it was funny up until then, but then they flip that switch in many of the episodes, and it gets serious and heartfelt, and maybe it's cathartic, maybe, I don't know, it makes you feel something. There's something about the rhythm of going from laughing your ass off to feeling something deeply emotional. You combine them, and it's like crack. It's like the drug in itself, it's so addicting, you want to binge it and go through the whole thing. And then on a lighter note, talking about Todd's sex robot, who ends up being the CEO of What Time Is It? Or What Time Is It Anyway? Man, that was hilarious. And just like, this show, I've never seen a show get away with being so ridiculous and taken seriously at the same time. Because the main character is a horse who walks on two legs. And, oh man, to have these serious moments is crazy. Caroline's story arc for the season, trying to adopt a baby, and then realizing at the end that maybe she doesn't need one, or maybe that her work is more important to her. And just kind of going through that arc to where at the end she's offered a baby, and she's like, hold on, I have to do something important, that has to wait. And she just pushes it all off for BoJack to be there by his side. And man, I mean, it seems like she does that a lot throughout the seasons, and she does it again. And then and Diane's story arc, the whole divorce with Mr. Peanut Butter, and then she goes off and finds herself, and that was really interesting. That was a nice change of pace. And then she goes to her shitty apartment, and then eventually she gets a job working on BoJack's set and trying to inject some feminism into their show, and of course it all falls apart. I'll definitely say the eulogy episode is probably my favorite one of the season. One of my favorite episodes out of any of BoJack, for sure. They always do such a good job of setting up things. Like, from the choking incident being set up in the beginning of the season, he has a relationship with his co-star. He has a relationship with his co-star where they hook up casually, and it's whatever, playful, and then it progresses. And slowly throughout the season, he wants it to be something more, and then she doesn't, and then she does, and then he doesn't, and it's just, they're not really connecting the right way, and there's some problems there, and then eventually, leads to the conclusion of him choking her. Diane and Mr. Peanut Butter, they break up, of course. Mr. Peanut Butter finds somebody just like him, and he comes to the realization once she starts complaining that maybe it's him that needs to change. That was a really powerful episode and moment, Halloween episode, man. For Mr. Peanut Butter, we usually don't get, I think, that hard hitting of just like facts with Mr. Peanut Butter storylines usually. But man, that moment once he kind of realizes that he's the problem, that he dates these younger women, and they grow up and mature, and they outgrow him, and he stays the same. He's kind of the problem, and it's like, oh man, that's I'm sure that hit a lot of people. I mean, overall, it's just a hilarious story, and if you haven't seen it already and you watched the spoilers, I don't know why you did that, but you should go check it out, and I'll probably watch through it a couple times. But yeah, until next time, see ya.